Jeanine Pirro, the U.S. Attorney for Washington, D.C. and former Fox News host, sparked some outrage from gun rights advocates when she suggested anyone who brings a gun to D.C. would be arrested.
During a segment on Fox News, Pirro touted statistics showing a drop in violent crime in the nation's capital, going 3 weeks without a homicide. Take a look.
The disruptors and those committing the violence, and we make sure that they are the ones who are accountable. And you bring a gun into the district, you mark my words, you're going to jail. I don't care if you have a license in another district, and I don't care if you're a law-abiding gun owner somewhere else. You bring a gun into this district, count on going to jail, and hope you get the gun back. And that makes all the difference.
Washington, D.C. does indeed have some of the strictest gun laws in the country. Permits from other jurisdictions are not recognised, and registration of guns classified as assault weapons is prohibited. The city's violent crime rate and murder rate have gone down drastically since a peak in the 1990s, but the rates are still high compared to most other American cities.
Pirro's comments caused a stir among Republican lawmakers who felt the attorney was turning her back on the Second Amendment. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis wrote on X, "Second Amendment rights are not extinguished just because an American visits D.C. American gun owners who conceal carry are among the most law-abiding citizens in the nation. They are friends of law enforcement. They should not be targeted by law enforcement." And Florida Representative Greg Stoops says, "I bring a gun into the district every week. I have a license in Florida and D.C. to carry, and I will continue to carry to protect myself and others. Come and take it."
Following the backlash, Pirro quickly put out a statement on Tuesday clarifying her position, saying the focus is on people who illegally have guns in the district.
You need to be responsible, and every responsible gun owner that I know makes sure that they understand the laws, where they are going, and understand whatever registration requirements there might be. President Trump's goal here, and my goal as well, is to make sure we take guns out of the hands of criminals. There is a reason that we have the lowest homicide rate in recorded history. We're taking guns off the street, illegal guns, in the hands of criminals who want to use those guns to victimize law-abiding citizens.
So the second statement is fine. I have no problem with what she said there. It was the first statement that so irritated conservatives, understandably, because she did not have those clarifications. She was saying, anyone, gun owner comes in here, they're getting arrested, and they're getting the gun taken. That is not what we want as we being Second Amendment supporters on the right. So that was very tone deaf.
You're a big Second Amendment guy.
Absolutely.
You are. Interesting.
And not out of any personal affection for guns. I've never shot a gun. I've never held a gun. But I am particularly, I think a lot of we might argue about this, ideas that are introduced about reasons for regulating guns are not as persuasive as people seem to think. Because people exaggerate in their minds how much the kinds of mass shooting incidents that so stick in our minds because they're so awful, how much death and destruction that actually accounts for in America is very low. Most of we do have too much violent crime. We have too much gun crime. I concede that. It is mostly because of illegal handguns. Handguns that are illegal because the person who has them has a prior criminal arrest. And people who have already been convicted of something cannot have handguns, but they have them anyway, and they commit crimes. If we could, I mean, maybe on some level I am for enforcing gun control then. That is a form of gun control I am fine with. We don't enforce it enough, and if we enforced it more, we would eliminate crime. The idea that you need to take guns away from otherwise law-abiding concealed carry people and that would reduce crime is, in my view, a fiction that some liberals believe in.
Yeah, so, I mean, obviously we disagree on the big picture. I do want to get in a second back to what Pirro said, but, I mean, on the big picture, it seems to me that there's an inextricable link between the sheer volume of guns in circulation in the United States, more than one per adult person, and the enormous rates of violent crime that we see. And also, I mean, this is a very bleak area to get into, but a huge number of gun deaths or deaths by suicide.
Now, that is true. I concede that. We have more suicides, and that is... the evidence is clear to concede to the other. On that one, it is clear that if we have more restrictions on guns, you would reduce suicides. But I am ideologically unwilling to take away someone's rights because someone else is going to use that thing only to hurt themselves. We'll consider it if it's a broader harm to other people, but I am not. I wouldn't restrict it on the basis, even if it would reduce suicides.
Yeah. So I think there are broader harms to other people, but we'll park that for a second, and I'll get myself into the even more unusual position of somewhat, at least, defending Jeanine Pirro, which is not something that I'm accustomed, not someone whom I'm accustomed to being aligned with. What she said was, I mean, she said it with a certain amount of vigor.
Fox News vigor.
Fox News vigor. But like the fact of the matter...
We've all been there, girl.
The fact of the matter is, as we pointed out in the introduction, the District of Columbia does not have reciprocity. It does not recognize the validity of gun ownership. If you have a gun license, even in Virginia, just across the river, DC does not recognize that. Correct. Now, the congressman...
I would be for changing that.
Well, I would be for changing gun laws in all kinds of ways, but that's neither here nor there as to that specific point. And interestingly, like that Florida congressman who said, well, I bring my gun into DC, stipulated in that tweet or truth or whatever it was, that he has a specific license. You can, in DC, as I understand it, apply for a license under some extenuating circumstances. Perhaps the congressman argues he needs one for his personal protection because he's a congressman or whatever. But the idea, like, if Pirro had gone out there and said, yes, law-abiding gun owners are fine, that wouldn't be factually correct in the District of Columbia.
Yeah, I mean, but I think it gets to the point where I don't know how anyone could argue that you shouldn't, well, I guess I know how you can argue it, but in this city, which saw, thankfully crime has come down, but, waves of carjackings, particularly in my neighborhood, carjackings the summer before last. I mean, I think people should be able to have guns if they have no other criminal record. And if you want to do the kind of, mass confiscation of guns that you're describing as something that would reduce crime, the liberals don't have the stomach for it. It would involve a giant police effort in this city of low-income people in certain demographic groups in certain neighborhoods that would inspire a huge protest that you're racially profiling and you're doing all things because that's where the illegal guns are all concentrated. There's no appetite to do even that, let alone some mass disarmament beyond that. So then I go, then it's not serious. Then I don't want to hear about it anymore.
But the point, two things. First of all, there's a whole long-term idea of how that, you could end up having a challenge to the Second Amendment ultimately, but we're talking about something that's decades away. In relation to Pirro, like what she said was true, and then people are trying to like mess it around to try to make it seem as if she's saying something unreasonable, when in fact she's reflecting the laws that she is charged with at some level enforcing.
Well, a few too many Republicans in position of authority have now stepped in. This happened with the Alex Preddy stuff, saying, well, he can't take a gun to a protest. Kash Patel said that. There's been too many examples recently of high-profile Republicans saying something a little that's tenured for gun owners, and they should watch out for that.
Yeah, and let me say, some fairly right-leaning gun organizations in the Alex Preddy case did actually stay true to their principles. They were initially criticized for not making any statements, and then they did.
Yes.
And they stated what their principle was, even when it was a man who was killed at the hands of federal agents during the Trump administration.
Yeah. Next up, political strategist James Carville has a pick for the 2028 Democratic presidential nomination. We will tell you next. Don't go anywhere.